So welcome to my tutorial. Well, I guess actually it's more like a demonstration because I'm not going to teach you how to do everything. I'm going to show you what I did, and you can backward engineer it, maybe take some pointers from me and build your own, perhaps even better farm for making all the money that you need to buy all the cool things in No Man's Sky that you can't afford right now. So what you're going to do, as you see here, is you need to build yourself a basic rectangular or square shaped base so that you can move around it pretty easily, and you're going to fill it with albumin pearl plants, and then you're going to sell them, as you see I'm doing here. And you'll see as you pluck 20 of them, you're going to get about 550,000 each time, and this setup I have here holds, I think, approximately 88, which gives you about 2.5 or 2 3/4 million every 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how fast you can pluck them and sell them, etc., etc. Now you'll see also in the middle here I've got multicolored banks, and that's so that I can store other items. Try to keep them color-coded for memory, but it's not necessary. You do it however you like, but I suggest you have some kind of a bank system in there if you need to store other items, because while you're building this stuff you're going to want to have to go back and forth without having to leave your base to keep harvesting stuff. So make sure that you've got all your items to build this firmly stored first, because you'll otherwise be doing a bunch of running around and it's a pain. And as it is to make this particular sort of farm, which is I think the most efficient and, as far as I'm aware, the most profitable singular plant farm, it takes a lot of resources. You need this item known as ripogen to create these albumin pearls, as well as the albumin pearls themselves. And if you have played the game long enough, you'll know that first of all, the albumin pearls typically are not that easy to find. They are on hostile planets, and if you harvest one, you instantly get a combat order of sentinels after you. And so you need 3 just to plant one of these plants. And of course, once you plant one, you can harvest one, but then you got to wait. So you want to try to snag as many as you can for at least up to, you get 3 plants growing in here. Then you can keep plucking them and growing more and more and more, and so on and so forth. The ripogen you're going to need to harvest from the bottom of oceans. It's the stuff that looks like white balloons or white pearls growing in the oceans, and that can be a pain in the butt too, and you need a ton of it. So you're going to also have to have your aeration mask up to full speed and maximize potential, and you're going to have to be able to find a planet with an ocean that's got them, and yeah. So anyway, it's a hassle to get to this point, but once you get here, it becomes a repetitive and easy process for harvesting money, which will net you approximately, again, 2.5 to 2 3/4, I forget what it is exactly, million per 15 to 20 minutes. Otherwise, it would be roughly 5. Let's see, what is it? So like 7.5 million every hour. If it's being conservative there, you could potentially get more out of it. You might be able to get 10 if you really do it efficiently. I'm not sure. The problem is you run out of memory. You may think, oh, why doesn't he have a bigger one with even more plants? Because there's so much memory on your base. You may not realize that yet, but you'll start building your epic base only to realize you've got to start removing things if you want to build a more efficient plant farm, because you need to have the most plants, which take up memory, and you need the most of that, but you also need to create other things so that you can get the quests that will give you the recipes you need, etc., etc., and so on and so forth. If you haven't played it, you'll figure it out on your own. Point is, once you're building bases, this is the type of base I suggest you build. Simple. You don't even really need the landing pad. I just did it for the sake of it. Brings in traders, and you can occasionally sell things to them, so it's useful to have one. But then the next move is once you've harvested all the plants, you're going to head to your freighter, and you're going to, in my case, you're going to have a whole nother farm there, which, it could have been more albumin pearls, but since you need other items occasionally for stuff, I just made it kind of a random farm for other supply parts that I might need later on or want to use down the road, or sell off just because it's extra. And so you're going to get here, and you can also build a base here basically in your tanker. And there you're going to harvest more plants, and the ultimate goal is to build another galactic bank inside my tanker so that I don't have to go back and forth just to sell things. I can just sell them here and then go back and harvest and sell what's at the base there, and so on and so forth. As it is right now, I've got to pull things from here, transfer them, etc., take them back to my base, sell some things off, and use some other items to craft while I'm waiting for the pearls to regrow again, which takes about 15 minutes. So, while we're waiting for the other pearls to grow, instead of just wasting time, what we do is we go here and we harvest all these random things that we've grown here. And like I said, you could plant other things to make it more money profitable or efficient. And, you know, I just chose to do it like this. The reason there's also holes and there's some gaps in terms of it, because just it doesn't want to always cooperate with letting you plant a plant or a planter in a certain space. I think it's because maybe a door can be built there later on, or you know, if you're crafting in the bases are a little bit more difficult to build inside the freighter. Let's just put it that way. But you know, so you get a shit ton of plants in here and you harvest them all. Some you can use to make other stuff with. Some you can just sell off, and then you know, you go back and forth, and you can keep building more in this base. It has quite a bit more memory and space left in it too. I just haven't really been wanting to put in the time yet. As it is, it's already a lot of work just to get to this point. And since I'm trying to earn to get a much better freighter, I'm not going to go all out and build a crazy thing in here and then have to destroy it and rebuild it again. So we'll just go with this for now. Now I'm harvesting all this mordite because those of you may know or may not know, you can use this mordite to craft lubricant. And lubricant gets you about 30k per sale of one. And it's easy to craft because all you need is just the mordite. You don't need any other items, or you don't have to combine it or anything. And the mordite grows fairly quickly and is pretty easy to grow if you have enough thamium 9 and whatever I think it is. Whatever the dumb other thing is you need to grow it with. But this is the thing. Now you got to come here and transfer stuff back and forth to your guy on the freighter to make space to sell the good stuff and keep other stuff here that you might need to use or replant later and build with. And so here I suggest later on down the line you store iron and things you're going to use to build on your tanker with, and then after you've built in your rooms and stuff, then you use it to store whatever you're harvesting and then transfer it back and forth until you get enough stuff built up to build a galactic bank in your tanker, which if you've tried to build one of those yet, you know, again, also requires a ton of supplies. Mostly it requires you to hunt Ripogen down because you need that to make the ferrous plate, I believe it is, and you need like 10 of those. So have fun swimming, because that's a big part of building this farm this way. A lot of swimming, in fact. So get your aeration masks and all that upgraded to the maximum potential, and hopefully find a planet that doesn't have like toxic water or cold, freezing, boiling hot water, whatever it is. But if you find a nice planet with a cool lagoon that's got Ripogen growing, I suggest you plant yourself there and get as much as you can for a while. And then when you leave a marker so you can come back and get more, because you're going to need it. At least for now. I really hope that they add in the feature of like letting you have aquariums to grow the underwater plants, such as the aquasphere as well, because those are really hard to find. They're rare. You barely ever see them on an ocean. You can buy them more than you can find them. You know, I'm also really would hope that they allow us to have some form of a menagerie later on with some updates. That would be really cool. I'd love to own the creatures that I find, like a zoo. You know, and instead of capturing them, maybe they just let you, you know, sort of the same way you kill them and it absorbs the particular nutrient of that guy, and then you put it in a cloning DNA machine or something, and it'll make a new one for you, and then you can breed them. I don't know. That's potential that I would like to see, because what's the point of all this if you're not like wanting to just expand on your crazy weird kingdom or your farm or your growing? There's no real need to keep going back and forth and grabbing resources other than for money, and what does the money do you any good if there's no things to spend it on, right? So in this case, you know, for whatever reason, sometimes your plane won't land on your landing base. It just doesn't register. It's kind of a pain in the butt. I suggest, as you'll see here, I save when I go in. I built a save pod here, and I save when I come back out, usually. Not always, but getting in the plane kind of saves you, so you don't have to worry about it as much. But I always just do a save to be safe. Haha. And then, you know, you've got these banks here. I color code them just to try to help me keep my memory of what I'm storing in them. But sometimes, you know, again, that can get out of whack. So, you know, I don't know if you're OCD about it. I'm sorry, it's going to annoy you when you find that I put a purple thing in a red one or whatever occasionally. But usually I try to stay pretty much color coded if I can. Problem is you're limited to space, and so again, your epic base that you're building, you're going to think, oh, I can have all this stuff, and then suddenly it's like, oh no, I better delete that because then I can't have 88 plants. I can only have 62 plants. And if you want to make as much money as you want to make, you're going to need to have as many plants as you can. Although I didn't want to sacrifice all aesthetics and have completely like just a square box and plants in it and nothing else. That's why I've got the technicians still in there, even though I've done all the quests, and they absolutely do me no good other than just as background entertainment. They talk to you and occupy space and look cool. So what we're going to do here is we're transferring this stuff away to make more space in our inventory so that we can basically just craft lubricant using the mordite. So I'm trying to free up space, sell off some stuff that's valuable, and then we'll be regrowing again on the ship at any time while we're still waiting on the albumin pearls in this farm here to continue growing. You see they're kind of sprouting over there in the corner. So usually by the time you're done doing this whole routine, the whole room will be resprouted again, and then you can rinse and repeat. And, you know, you're probably able to make an extra million or so, maybe more, doing this routine, depending on how much space you want to conserve. I've got a lot of my space taken up with exosuit upgrades because I don't like recrafting them or having. It's a real pain if you destroy them. As much as I hate where they're located and everything, if you destroy them, it takes a lot of resources sometimes to rebuild the good ones, and I don't feel like hunting them down right now. But eventually, then I will stock items in all these different boxes so that I can, at will, get rid of, you know, say my theta level heat protection, just because I'm not going to be on any heat planets for a while. But you know, you never know what you're going to land on, so I like being fully prepared. So I pretty much have my stuff maxed out with all the upgrades so that I can handle any terrain I hit randomly when I warp into a star system. You know, everybody's got their own method to play, so that's kind of the fun about No Man's Sky. It's your own way of doing it, but these might help you become more efficient or get over a hurdle you're trying to, or get that ship you really want to buy. You know, so again, this method right here of crafting the lubricant, it's fairly easy, but it is a pain in the butt to keep crafting these things, and you have to hear that stupid noise and every time you craft one, whatever the heck it is. Might as well be units received or whatever the heck it is. It's just as annoying. So we're just going to sell this stuff off as our plants are growing. See, now they're growing over there to the right. You can see them starting to pop up over there. And pretty much by time this 15-minute demo is up, those plants will be ready to harvest again in the full entire room. And you just keep doing it, and then when you harvest the room, you go back to your ship, grab that stuff, and so, you know, keep going until you get as much as you want. I've been doing it. It still takes forever. I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of grinding. It's a lot of resource management and time management, I guess you'd say, if you really care. I'm not that concerned with it. I'm not even sure I'm going to use this money that I'm building up right now, but eventually I'd like to buy one of these $50 million planes, or, you know, something with a 46 slot cargo bay is pretty nice when you're down to only 31 or something I have right now, I think, on my ship. And it could be a pain in the butt, you know. And God knows what they're going to do in future upgrades, or updates, I should say, that may really make a difference in the economy, and you're going to really need that big freighter, or you're going to need to have a faster, better ship when they add in maybe potentially a multiplayer aspect where you're going to have people being able to raid your planet or whatever. So, you know, here's a method to hopefully make you lots of money and stack it away and spend it how you want. So good luck, and thanks for watching.